My Hero Academia chapter 284 might be one of the most interesting chapters to date, and I'm pretty sure I speak for many when I say despite the 6 years of the manga running, I still feel like I know the bare minimum when it comes to One for All, and this chapter confirms that there is still much more to learn about. So what is the secret about the fourth user that All Might is so desperate to hype on Deku and Bakugo? Well, that's what I'm going to be theorizing about in detail today. So if you're new to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button. It literally takes 2 seconds and it really helps me out, so I'd really appreciate it. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that like button and leave a comment on your thoughts about my theory. So stick around to the end and let's get right into it. So before explaining the main point of this theory, let me explain some of the mysteries that this latest chapter of My Hero Academia has brought to the table and why these developments led me to come to my answer. With chapter 284, we have All Might and Bakugo conversing about the development of One for All. With the addition of Black Whip to Deku's arsenal, Bakugo says that All Might won't be able to keep the truth of One for All under wraps for long, since it's not just super strength anymore. And with the next Quirk float coming in the near future, which we know he awakens during the battle with Shigaraki, Deku is training to strengthen Black Whip and prepare for float, so when he awakens it, he will be able to use it efficiently. The training is also so he doesn't go out of control like he did with Black Whip. But back to the main matter. While Bakugo and All Might are talking, Bakugo mentions that in the notebook of successors All Might prepared for Deku, he went into detail about the 5th, 6th and 7th users, but not about the 4th. Why is that? And how come when Bakugo brought it up, All Might merely brushed it aside and didn't tell him much? Now, let me just clear up some points here to make stuff easier to explain going forward. In chapter 257, when All Might, Deku and Bakugo were talking about the successors, All Might said, "I've compiled all the information I could find about the previous users." We then hear that there is no information on the 2nd and 3rd users, and that the 5th user is Daigoro or Banjo, being the user of Black Whip. Also, we find out that Deku is going to unlock Float next, which is Nanashimura, the 7th user's quirk. There was no mention of the 4th and 6th users, and since the 6th user isn't relevant to the video, let's just ignore him. So we already know that All Might got all the information he could, and the 4th was in the least detail, meaning that Deku and Bakugo at this point in time may still not be aware of the quirk the 4th was harboring, which is likely what All Might is hiding. So why would All Might hide this quirk from Deku? Well, here's what I'll come up with, and after this explanation, I'll tell you exactly what the quirk I think Deku will unlock is. So All Might likely hid this quirk from Deku because it's either very dangerous or it's a quirk Deku would be very against using, meaning it could be a quirk which is used for evil deeds, or it's a quirk which is fit for villains. In my previous theory why Deku will gain the ability to steal quirks, I mentioned that some of the past users of One for All could have been villains, and when looking at the 4th user I could definitely see him being a villain. And if All Might knew that Deku was going to unlock a quirk of this nature, why wouldn't he prep him for it like with Float? So it doesn't go out of control, because if it's dangerous it makes sense to tackle the problem from the start. Why hide details from him and Bakugo? Well, the only logical reason for All Might to do this is that it isn't a dangerous quirk upon activation, but it's definitely a quirk which would be frowned upon because of its purpose. So even if Deku activated it like Black Whip, it wouldn't necessarily cause harm, but people would likely be scared or shocked. Now we know Horikoshi, when adding these new quirks to Deku's arsenal, has added quirks which aren't necessarily OP, but insanely useful. Like with Black Whip and Float, they've helped Deku to avoid decay while saving others, and it even helped him to not break his arm immediately when using 100% of One for All. Even with my previous eyes were permanent erasure theory, it came true, although not the way I imagined, but Horikoshi does things in a way that help with current situations. Now with the end of chapter 284, look at the situation. Deku is fighting alone against Shigaraki. Aizawa, the only person who can keep Shigaraki in check, is unconscious, and Deku says that he will unleash everything that One for All has to offer. And I do believe that Deku will show us the 4th user's quirk within the next few chapters, and the quirk that I believe that the 4th user had is Force Quirk Activation. Now for those of you who may have forgotten when this quirk was used, it was initially used by All for One and Kamino when he forcibly activated Kurogiri's warp to save the League. And it is very likely that this quirk belonged to the 4th user One for All, and All for One stole it because of how useful it is. However, another version of it resided in One for All to be used by Deku. So just think about it. Force Quirk Activation would be a perfect quirk in the current scenario, and who else would use it better than Deku, one of the best strategists when it comes to using quirks that has been proved time and time again. He knows how to use people's quirks in the best way possible. Also, if this is the quirk of the 4th user and Deku unlocks it, it would make sense why All Might was worried about him and didn't want to tell him because of the nature of the quirk and the fact that All for One has the same quirk. which could also be a reference to the All For One's power panel back in chapter 217. And this next part here is going to shock a lot of you. If Deku does unlock Force Quirk activation, he could use it on Aizawa. The only known requirement of Force Quirk activation that we know of is that he has to know what the quirk does. So he could use the unconscious Aizawa to erase Shigaraki's quirks to land a lethal blow. And also, I guess it would sort of be a parallel, him using it on Aizawa when All For One used it on Kurogiri, who we know is Aizawa's childhood friend Shirakumo. And another big thing is, what if Deku could use Force Quirk activation to unlock the dormant 1-for-all quirks that he knows about? That would definitely be a crazy development. Also, two features which kind of linked Force Quirk activation to 1-for-all can be seen when All For One uses it. When he used it on Kurogiri, the red line effect looks exactly like it does when Deku is powering up his full cow, and also the pattern of the tendrils sort of looks similar to the scar of the fourth user. But these are just visual effects, so they can mean absolutely nothing, but I thought they were worth mentioning. However, I definitely feel that this could be the quirk of the fourth user, Force Quirk activation, and this would clear up why All Might was worried about Deku and why he decided to essentially hide information on the fourth user from him and Bakugo. It would also just tie so many things together, the whole All For One's power scene, All Might's secret, and Bakugo saying they won't be able to hide 1-for-all forever. Just imagine Deku using the same quirk as All For One during this battle. There will definitely be questions. But that's it for the theory, guys. I really enjoyed making this one as it makes a lot of sense, and I think I might have got this one dead on, so I hope you guys enjoyed it too. And if you did, make sure to smash that subscribe button. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Like, share, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.